There are moments in celebrity culture that feel staged, filtered, and carefully engineered for maximum impact. And then there are moments so unguarded, so startlingly real, that they don't just trend, they linger. What happened this week wasn't a dramatic interview, a red carpet confession, or a glossy magazine reveal. It was something far quieter, and somehow, far more powerful. When Song Hye Kyo shared a single family photo on her personal account, the internet didn't just react, it paused. Because anyone who has followed her for years knows this is not something she does. She is famously private, deliberate, controlled in what she allows the public to see. Her feed has always been elegant but distant, warm yet carefully measured. You see beauty, artistry, professionalism, but never the raw texture of her daily life. Never the inside of her home. Never the small, unfiltered seconds that make up a real family. Until now. At first glance, the photo doesn't look revolutionary. There's no dramatic lighting, no posed glamour, no styling team involved. It looks like what it is, a spontaneous capture in natural light, taken quickly before the moment disappeared. She is in the frame, yes, but she is not centered in the way celebrities usually are when they choose to share something personal. The composition feels accidental, intimate, almost private. But the reason millions of people have zoomed in again and again is not because of her. It's because of what's happening in the corner. In that corner sits Lee Min-ho, holding their baby, Juno, completely unaware that a camera is pointed at him. And that unawareness is everything. This is a man who has spent his entire adult life being photographed. A global star who understands lenses instinctively. He knows how to stand, how to angle his shoulders, how to let an expression land perfectly between composed and effortless. Cameras have followed him across continents, across premieres, across carefully managed appearances. When you are that visible for that long, you develop a reflex, an almost invisible shift that happens the second you sense you're being watched. But none of that reflex is present here. His posture isn't curated. His expression isn't arranged. He is not performing. He is feeding his son. His entire body is angled toward the baby, not toward the room, not toward the imagined audience. One hand supports Juno's head with the quiet confidence of someone who has done this many times before. The bottle is positioned at precisely the right angle. There is no hesitation in the way he holds him, no uncertainty in his grip. It's settled, practiced, natural. The kind of physical assurance that only comes from repetition and commitment. And his face, that is what has undone people. He is looking at Juno with a focus so complete it almost feels sacred. Not dramatic. Not exaggerated. Just present. The kind of presence that happens when someone you love occupies all of your attention and nothing else exists. His eyes are soft but concentrated, as if the entire world has narrowed to the small rhythm of a baby feeding in his arms. People have said they didn't expect to feel emotional over a celebrity photo. But they did. Comments flooded in within minutes. Not about fashion. Not about appearance. About him. About that corner. About the expression of a father who didn't know he was being seen. Across languages and countries, the same word kept surfacing. Real. Real father. Real moment. Real love. And in a world saturated with curated perfection, that realness hit like something rare. What makes it even more powerful is knowing that this wasn't staged for praise. According to those close to them, the photo wasn't even meant for the public at first. She took it the way many new mothers do, to remember. Because early parenthood moves at a strange speed. The days are long, but the weeks disappear. Babies change overnight. Expressions shift. Tiny details fade if you don't hold on to them. She has reportedly been quietly building a private collection of moments inside their home, snapshots of him with Juno, of ordinary routines that feel extraordinary because they are new. This image was one of many. But when she looked at it later, something in it felt too meaningful to keep hidden. Not polished. Not captioned with a long explanation. Just shared. As is. And what it revealed went beyond a sweet feeding scene. It revealed consistency. This wasn't a rare gesture for the camera. Those close to the family say he has taken on feedings from the very beginning. That he researched infant care with the same intensity he once brought to preparing for roles. That he asked questions to his mother, to hers, to doctors, to friends who had already navigated this phase. That he didn't want to be helpful. He wanted to be competent, fully capable. Someone she could hand the baby to and truly rest, knowing everything was handled. And if you look carefully at her in the photo, you see that trust. She is not hovering. She is not tense. Her body language carries no anxiety.
She isn't supervising.
She is simply there, relaxed.
Certain.
There is something profoundly intimate about visible trust between partners. It speaks without words. In that image, you don't see a performance of partnership. You see it lived. And perhaps that is why it resonated so widely. Because beyond the fame, beyond the names, what people recognized was effort.
Attention.
A man deciding that average involvement was not enough. That fatherhood was not a side role, but a central one. Family reactions, according to insiders, were deeply emotional. His mother reportedly studied the photo in silence for a long moment, absorbing not just the image, but the transformation it represented. She has known him his entire life. And yet, she saw something new there, a version of her son that only emerged when he became a father. His father's response was quieter, but heavy with meaning. A simple acknowledgement that his son was doing something right. That he was present in a way that perhaps previous generations hadn't always managed to be. There are shifts that happen across generations not through speeches, but through small, consistent actions. A bottle held at 3 a.m. A feeding taken without being asked. A choice to stay in the room fully instead of half elsewhere. Friends who have visited describe him as deeply grounded during this period. Not distracted. Not split between work and home. Fully inside this chapter. Sitting on the floor watching Juno move and stretch as if it's the most fascinating thing in the world. Because to him, it is. And that level of presence, especially from someone whose career constantly demands his attention, feels significant. But perhaps the most unexpected impact of the photo has been on ordinary people. Mothers sharing that they sent the image to their partners without commentary because none was needed. Men writing that it made them reconsider what kind of fathers they want to become. Conversations starting in homes that have nothing to do with celebrity at all. The image became symbolic. Not of perfection. Not of unattainable standards. But of possibility. Of what it looks like when someone chooses to be fully there. For decades, the cultural bar for paternal involvement has often been low. Applause given for minimal participation. Surprise expressed when fathers do what mothers are expected to do automatically. And then suddenly, there is this quiet photo of a man doing something completely ordinary, feeding his child, but doing it with such visible commitment that it feels extraordinary. Not because it should be rare, but because it often is. What makes the moment endure isn't fame. It isn't beauty. It isn't even the baby's sweetness. It is the absence of performance. The fact that if she hadn't posted it, the world would never have known. He wasn't curating an image. He wasn't constructing a narrative. He was simply being a father in his own home, in a moment that mattered only to the three of them. And sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that were never meant to be stories at all. That single corner of a photograph has now traveled across platforms and timelines, saved, screenshotted, analyzed. But its power remains simple. A father, a baby, a feeding. A wife watching with quiet certainty. A glimpse into a home where partnership is active, not advertised. Where love shows up in routine acts, not grand declarations. And perhaps that is why it refuses to fade. Because in a digital world overflowing with spectacle, what people found themselves craving was this, a small, unguarded second of real life. And in sharing it, she didn't just let the world see her family. She reminded millions what genuine presence looks like when no one thinks they're being watched.